Heading into the fourth part of the Matchbox Restoration Extravaganza, just a quick recap of what they all look like to start with, and then we'll just get straight into it. First one is the RS200. It's got a lot further than you'd think. The wheels are done, the base plate's been done. I'm just leaving the base plate in bare metal, and the glass has been done. So it's time to do something with the body. The body turned out to be good enough to mirror polish it to give it that kind of chrome. Well, yeah, it's kind of a chrome effect, like the bare metal look. So I'm going to do that now. Usual procedure. I've not got quite as many pads all laid out. Usually I'll lay 6 pads out and get them all wet, and then just sand the body down through all the grades until eventually it shines like chrome. I've only put 4 out here because with the slightly complicated surfaces of the RS200, they're not going to be these pads aren't just going to be staying flat like that for very long anyway. They're going to have to be picked up. They're going to have to be folded over the body. They're going to have to be bent into unusual shapes and contorted so they can get into little gaps, all those gills and vents and rear spoilers and areas at the front where it goes into depressions, and the fact that even the roof isn't all on one level. So there you go. In no time at all, I've had to start picking up the pads so that I can bend them to fit the surfaces that they're going into to polish up. And it does quickly descend into a bit of a free-for-all with using everything that I've got. So more pads get pulled out. The little sort of narrow kind of finger sanders, little board. They're almost like big wide emery boards really, but just with very, very fine grit. I've used them a lot in previous videos, and they do come in very handy, especially with cars that have got like quite a heavily convoluted surface like this, with lots of little bits that you just need to get into. Yeah, the little narrow sanding board actually did quite a lot of work on this one. There was quite a lot of areas where it's not that the sanding pads couldn't have got into it, it's just that because the little narrow board is just that little bit, well, not only is it narrow, but it's that little bit stiffer as well. It can just get into these little gaps and these little tiny areas and do a much more effective job than the sanding pads could of actually getting some of that metal sanded, sort of honed down and shined up a little bit. And then obviously it's only, I think it's 1500 grit this one, so after that then you send the pads in. And the pads, obviously the finer grit pads, when we get down to the 8,000, 12,000, they're what will give us this, basically. So this is effectively a chrome Matchbox RS200. I thought it'd be worth reassembling it just to show it like this, because it does look really good like this. And if you're watching along with this, you might just want to bail out now. I don't mean bail out of the video and stop watching the video. I just mean if you've got yours to this point, that might be, you could call this done. That's what I'm saying. A chrome look Matchbox Ford RS200 is certainly a splendid looking thing. I mean, the details in the casting, especially in the front and back, are what makes this, and they kind of speak for themselves. But I'm just going to put a colour on, because I've got a good transparent colour in mind for this, and also I want to try out all this Rebel stuff. I got it all a few weeks ago. I generally use Tamiya Clear, but I thought it'd be worth trying the Rebel stuff out. But you've got to get all their matching stuff, if you know what I mean. I mean, when I say all their matching stuff, I just mean you get the transparent colour, which is, in this case, is the blue, and get their lacquer as well. I mean, the Tamiya lacquer might just go on it absolutely fine, but I thought, no, if we're going to try this out properly, we're going to try the whole lot out. And I'm using their thinners too, so it's like a whole different system. But it's not a fortune. I mean, I think for the lacquer and the colour itself, and then the thinners, which obviously the thinners will last a long time, I think it was less than £20 for the thinners and several different colours, and a couple of different colours in the lacquer, so it's not a massive investment. And it would just be interesting to see what the difference is between the enamel transparent and the acrylics. The Tamiyas are acrylics, these are enamel. So I'm just going to be a little bit on the safe side with the thinners. I've put one pipette. Well, I don't know exactly how much I sucked up into the pipette of the thinners, but however much that was, I think it filled about half of this little pipette, and I just doubled that for the paint, so it's like 2/3 paint, 1/3 thinners. It just seems a sensible ratio to start with. I mean, if it all goes horribly wrong, I've got plenty more of this stuff that I can do the whole job again with many times over, I would have said. So it's the usual trusty airbrush. Now it actually goes on nicely. Possibly because I've over-thinned it. I don't think I've over-thinned it, but I've certainly not got it too thick. But it does go on very nicely. You can see it's just gradually gradually tinting it blue, and it definitely looks to have a nice sort of transparent effect. You can see the chrome metal through it nicely. That, I mean, with the blue, I've said this before, you've got to be careful, because before you know it, you can put too much on, because blue transparents tend to be cloudier than like reds and oranges and things like that. Before you know it, you can end up with too much on there, and all you've got is just a nice blue, and it's not transparent at all, and you may as well not have spent all that time mirror polishing it, because you've just got the exact same effect you could have got from just a decent metallic blue or whatever. But now that does seem to be starting to happen. The more I put on this, it does seem to be happening, especially as it starts to dry. If you look now, it just looks like it's blue, but there's nothing really that gives me nightmares here, because I can still see it seems to have gone on nicely and evenly for one thing, and I can still just about see the metal through it. And I'm thinking that as it dries, because it doesn't seem to be, well, it seems to be about as slow to dry and properly go off as the Tamiya stuff. So we're just going to see how that actually dries. But I've got a feeling we could be all right with that. Now the Trans Am on the quiet is getting very close to being ready. I mean, I didn't, because I've showed quite a lot of the other bodies being airbrushed at the time, and the Trans Am was done at the same time as that. I didn't actually do that on camera, so we haven't really seen much of the Trans Am being done so far. I think we've seen its glass, and that's about it. So I thought I'd just show the base plate being polished up, because the thing about the base plates on these Trans Ams, they're quite clever, and it's something you don't even notice, and it's something that I think even Matchbox might have forgotten about, because they painted the base plate of this in like a sort of pearly grey, and that got rid of quite a clever little feature on the base plate, because if you really polish up those kind of headlights, you notice that they really shine when you put it back together. If you look at it from certain angles, it kind of looks like the headlights are on. You lose that if you paint the base plate, or if you paint the base plate and the headlight bits at the same time, which is what they did. But originally, what I was trying to do with this one, because it's the T-bar roof one, which is a lot more common and usually in black, you'll often find it, especially in the UK, you'll often find them with sort of tiger stripes on there, because they were given away as part of a promotion with Frosties. But a lot of them will either be the Tony the Tiger one, or they'll be the black one that just says Trans Am on it. But the earlier issues of this, they didn't have the T-bar roof. They had like the just like a normal hard roof, and they came in the same sort of really deep, rich gold, and they had an unpainted base plate like this. So that's what I was trying to do with this one. So the sterling is also not really all that far from completion now, although I am starting to have certain thoughts about the colour of the lower half, because it's the same colour but over a gold undercoat, whereas the top half is just straight onto bare metal, and the colour difference is so subtle that it sort of comes across more like a mismatch. But the Trans Am, with its base plate done, and the wheels were all done and finished off earlier, the glass was done, I think we can say I think it's ready to go outside and have its final, well, not final, because it will be showing up again as more and more of these cars get done, but to have its big photo shoot. So hopefully you can see there in the indoor shots the thing I was talking about with the headlights. If you polish that part of the base plate up, you can really see them shining through. And the bumper as well. The bumper almost looks like chrome. Don't know how accurate that really is for a Trans Am of this era. There's a lot of colour coding going on by then on the real thing. But that doesn't matter. We're trying to kind of, what I'm trying to do with this one is make it look like the original gold hardtop, but a T-bar version of it, which they never did. So this is where we are at the moment. So the Ferrari's crossed the line, the Trans Am's crossed the line, the Sierra's still in its sort of fairly thick silver undercoat. We're not sure really what colour we're going to do that just yet. But the RS200, this is how the paint's drying. It's dried very matte, but I can see the metal through it still, and I'm quite confident that with some lacquer on, that will work out just as I wanted it to work out. It's certainly, compared to the Tamiya Blue Clear, I would say it's just as consistent, if not more. Anyway, this is the winner's circle so far. We've got two of them complete out of the 10. I've got a feeling they're all going to start falling like dominoes though now, because there's quite a few of them that are really like getting there. So I think in the next instalment there'll be more than just this. hopefully in the next instalment, this little Tomica service station will be getting quite crowded. Anyway, until then, thanks for watching.